Hey, what's going on? Ryan here with Intersection Records, and we've lost another giant in music. We've lost the great jazz drummer, composer, pianist, Jack DeJohnette at the age of 83. He was born in Chicago and died yesterday, the 26th of October, at the age of 83 in Woodstock, New York. He's really one of the last great, and there's lots of great jazz drummers now, but he's one of the last of the old guard that has passed away and played on some seminal recordings of Miles Davis, got his start with Jackie McLean and Charles Lloyd, did a lot of work with Keith Jarrett, Pat Metheny, Michael Brecker. I'm going to showcase a few albums that I love from Jack DeJohnette. I was fortunate enough to see him a couple times live. I saw him at the Detroit Jazz Festival in '03, where he played in the Ravi Coltrane Band, along with Jerry Allen on piano and Charlie Hayden on bass. And then I saw his band Hudson, which featured John Medeski on keyboards, John Schofield on guitar, and Larry Grenadier on bass. And that was one of the great concerts that I've ever seen. Went with my brother and saw that in St. Louis. When I was in college, albums like this came on my radar. Bitches Brew. Jack is the primary drummer on this album, even though we do have contributions from Billy Cobham and I think Tony Williams as well. And really, Jack replaces Tony Williams as Miles' primary drummer. And of course, this Bitches Brew is just one of the great albums and fusion albums of all time. One of my favorite Miles Davis records, though, is Live Evil. And then maybe my favorite of all is this classic, On the Corner. Before that, though, you got to check this out. Forest Flower, Charles Lloyd, live at Monterey, which features Keith Jarrett on piano, Cecil McBee on bass, Charles Lloyd on tenor, saxophone, and flute. This is just a beautiful piece of early kind of fusion, avant-garde. Elvin Jones, Tony Williams, Billy Cobham are powerhouse drummers. Jack's style was a little bit more delicate, although he could absolutely tear it up as well. He was a fully rounded jazz composer, often composing on piano. He has some discs of his piano playing. Very thoughtful drummer, very multi-layered and dimensional. And really fused from Miles Davis's era to modern drumming. In the 90s, he did some great work with Herbie Hancock on albums like New Standard and Tales from the Hudson by Michael Brecker, which is an amazing modern jazz album. He's from Chicago, born in 1942. Speaking of Elvin Jones had to sit out a Coltrane show in Chicago, and Jack knew the owner of the bar and said, "Hey, I can sit in," and sat in and did a show with John Coltrane prior to going to Charles Lloyd's band. One of my favorite representations of Jack's music is the John Abercrombie album, Timeless. John Abercrombie is one of the great guitarists of all time. This album also features Jan Hammer on keyboards and Jack DeJohnette. You need to buy this record if you don't know this record. If you don't know who John Abercrombie is, check it out. This is beautiful music. One of my favorite jazz artists of all time is Paul Desmond, famous for being in Dave Brubeck's band. But this album with Gabor Szabo and Ron Carter and Jack DeJohnette. This is amazing. Kind of 70s fusion. Yeah. Gabor Szabo, somebody to certainly know. Of course, that's Paul Desmond. Gabor Szabo, Szabo. Check out some of his stuff. This is from December of 73. Skylark. Make sure you check this out. It can be said that Jack was the greatest jazz drummer of all time if you take in all the facets. When you take in the recordings that he played on, when you think about the coverage that he had from the mid-60s to the 20s, his loss is just immense. At 83 years old, he's passed away. I don't know what of. It doesn't matter what of. Rest in peace, Jack DeJohnette. For the last 30 years, you've made an enormous impression on me and my friends and my brother, Dennis. You will be missed. Check out my channel. We only talk about great music here on Intersection Records every day. Peace out.